And I guess also the guy that you said a major influence on the business and probably has been forgotten today also. He hadn't been forgotten. The name has not been forgotten by the hardcore fans and the people who read the books like the Buddy Rogers book and have, read the historical stuff, but you've probably not seen him work because there's so little film left. But Bobby Davis, the manager of Nature Boy Buddy Rogers and the Graham brothers. And he was the Buddy Rogers book talks about how Rogers got over and got so much pull in so many different territories because he was a mega box office attraction and he did mean money, but he would bring his guys in, his crew, the people he liked to work with. Billy Darnell was a friend of his from New Jersey that turned out to be, a Tarzan type babyface that could do all of Rogers' stuff. And he would bring him around. And later in Rogers' career toward the late 50s, there had been managers before, Wild Red Berry, who was a, light heavyweight wrestler and an old time boxer in the 30s and had a gift of gab, as they used to say when the television era come around. He had, as he got older, he transitioned to being a manager / mouthpiece. And there had been managers and valets for Lord Lansdowne and, Gorgeous George, whatever. But
Count Rossi,
Leo
the Lion Newman.
And Leo Newman,
he was a wrestler first. Yeah.
They were all wrestlers first.
Yeah.
Except for the just stray valets. But Leo Newman was maybe closer to Bobby Davis flavor than anybody else because he spent so much time in Texas and they do the wash the jackass stipulation match. And Leo would wear a suit and a hat and he'd get all fucked up and they'd rip his clothes off and everything. But Rogers with Bobby Davis, and then later on, Davis worked with the Graham brothers in Madison Square Garden. He was a big fixture in Capitol Wrestling in those days. Rogers perfected the weasel manager, the kind of wimpy guy you wanted to see him get his ass kicked type. Bobby Davis obviously was the prototype for Bobby Heenan because when Bruiser made Bobby Heenan a manager, the only manager he knew was Bobby Davis. So he told Bobby's name was Raymond. And Bobby told a story. He was hanging around the wrestling office because Bruiser had told him to show up, and some fans came up and asked for his autograph. He didn't know what to sign. He didn't know what his name was. And then Bruiser said, "Hey, come here, Bobby." Who, me? Yeah, you're Bobby Heenan. But Rogers knew that instead of an ex-wrestler that the people had seen get beat up and had scars on their face and they knew how to take bumps and all that shit. It was even better if you got this guy who was just a smart aleck, young, fucking obviously non-wrestling, non-athletic putz. It was part of one of his heat tools. He had used nature girls earlier in his career, with the girl that would come to the ring and take his cape and do all of his stuff. And now he's got Bobby Davis was actually a teenage fan of Buddy Rogers and from Ohio around Columbus, and had met Rogers when he was a teenager, and Buddy liked him. And then later on, when he was like 19, 20 years old, he said, "Hey," and he took him on the road. And he used, I'm reading the book and I'm kind of imagining, because there is so little film left. And I think a lot of the film of Bobby Davis is with him with the Graham brothers in Washington in the late 50s. But Rogers used Davis probably like Lawler used a lot of his managers in Memphis, and some territory heels that would stay there for a long time would change managers. Instead of having the manager running the show and the manager having all the heat and their charges being, the flunkies, it was the other way around. You had a star wrestler that had a manager that was there to pass the gimmick or pull the foot or interfere or distract the referee. And you wanted some heat on him because then, the people want to pay to see him get beat up. But at the same time, it's still your world. You're still the star in it. And that was the original reason for and flavor of having a manager at ringside, of especially a Bobby Davis's type. And then, of course, he influenced, because he was with Rogers, the biggest box office attraction. and used in this big territory in the Northeast and in Ohio and in places when they were drawing huge money. It was only a few year period that he was with him, but he kind of set the standard. And then, of course, Bobby Heenan had seen Bobby Davis. Oh, that's how you be a manager. And then I saw Bobby Heenan. Oh, that's the way you be a manager. And everybody was doing different stuff, but it was the flavor, it was the gist of it. And then as television got more, what's the word I'm searching for, more involved and more complicated, and the promos were still primitive even back in the late 50s. But guys, evolved with the times, but still it was the basic flavor of the obnoxious, irritating, loudmouthed, wimpy heel manager. And Bobby apparently he not only made some good money with Rogers, but he saved it and then invested it. And I've always heard this was he was one of the original franchisees when Dave Thomas created Wendy's out of Columbus, Ohio. Bobby Davis got a number of those. And is it true, or the old Sunnyside Gardens ended up a Wendy's? I know that is true.
That part is true.
But somebody was trying to say that was one of Bobby Davis's, and that would be too coincidental, would it not?
That was the longtime rumor, and actually it came up maybe a year ago, because on one of the episodes of John Arezzi's Pro Wrestling Spotlight Then and Now, we reviewed an episode from '89 where Don Rival said it on the air, that the Wendy's at Sunnyside Gardens was Bobby Davis's, and I believe it's not true. It is just a myth. However,
well, that Donnie Libel's always been, he's on drugs anyway. No, I love you, Donnie.
Sue him for libel. But
I'll sue you for libel. Boy, God damn it, if we only had Stephen P. New a spot on the program today.
But I believe, from what I understand, he knew Dave Thomas from Ohio. That's how he got in on the ground floor. But his partner in a lot of those stores, if not all of the ones that all the franchise stores that he bought, was Merle Haggard.
Good Lord. Well, there you go. So Bobby Davis, that's why you have not heard that name, and why he, as Brian said, he's forgotten by today's fans, because he started young. He was only, like I said, 19, 20 years old. He was only a manager for several years with the Rogers Group, but got, really high profile bookings and stuff, made some money, then invested it, boom. And the rest is history, as they say.
He really invented the obnoxious heel manager.
Yeah, and boy, you can see those facials that he had. I'm sure he got incredible heat. He had to have, because he's with Rogers, who got incredible heat, and then he's got those facials. And you could tell also he was on some of those Wrestling Classic interviews, the VHSs that they'd release, or so, I guess some of the stuff's probably on YouTube.
It's Kinescope. A lot of that stuff's off Kinescope, and I think it may even come from Bobby Davis, now that I think about it. Some of it.
But you can see that even if it wasn't a modern style interview, he was just an obnoxious. I don't say he was as really this, but his gimmick was just obnoxious and condescending and a motor mouth little punk. So I got a soft spot in my heart for stuff like that. I have to thank Heenan, and Heenan would have to thank Bobby Davis. I never stole anything from Bobby Davis because I was already well into the business before I was ever even lucky enough to see any tape, but I indirectly did because everybody else did before me.
See, if you would have gotten into the business, you still would have been Jim Cornette. Without Bobby Davis, we would have had Raymond the Brain Heenan.
Yeah. The old story was that Bobby Davis obviously was a big fan. He had met Buddy Rogers. He was a fan as a teenager, that he was training at Al Haft's wrestling school up there in Columbus, and to be a wrestler himself, and he got hurt. And that's why he was around, and Rogers picked him to be a manager. If Omax CryoFreeze had been a thing back then and Bobby Davis could have worked through that pain, I might not be sitting here. There might not be wrestling managers. Thank goodness that Omax was not invented then, but thank heavens that it was invented now, folks, because we've talked about Omax CryoFreeze, the pain relief roll-on, the sport cream. It helps with the aches and pains, the overuse, the aging, the whole 9 yards. Well, now CryoFreeze has come out with the Advanced Joint Defense One-A-Day Supplement that relieves joint discomfort and soreness on an ongoing basis in 7 days or less. You start taking one of these bad boys once a day, in less than a week, you're going to start feeling better, and it's going to go on longer. It's a breakthrough formula that reduces aches and pains from sore muscles, joint overuse, and aging. It helps with muscle recovery, improves flexibility, and Lord knows none of us are as flexible as we used to be. You wouldn't believe the positions I used to be able to get in, Brian. Well, this one, I took my right leg and stuck it through my leg. But nevertheless,
oh boy,
folks, Omax is right now offering my listeners a limited time offer, 20% off the introductory pricing on Omax CryoFreeze supplements and any other products site-wide through the end of the month. If you go to omaxhealth.com, that, of course, is OMAX Health, HEALTH, omaxhealth.com, and enter the code JCE. You can take advantage of the incredible savings, 20% off Omax CryoFreeze Advanced Joint Defense One-A-Day Supplements and anything else they got on that whole big old website. omaxhealth.com, enter the code JCE, get 20% off. You're going to feel better. Don't let muscle soreness continue to be an excuse for not living an active lifestyle. Go to omaxhealth.com and feel the relief faster. That's what I have to say about that.